Hello, everyone. I am Kiana F. Brown, your forgiveness expert. You know, when you're trying to do something good, especially for the Lord, something is always going on. But guys, we got it. We got it. Go ahead and share this out. I'm sharing now because we had to do some things. Arthur, how are you doing today?
Ooh-wee. But I
You
tell you,
doing good?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm so ready for this interview.
Yes, I
Wow.
am ready to get started as soon as I share this to one more place so that I'm gonna say maybe two more places so that people can get in. Guys, y'all see him. He ready. He
Y'all gotta
ready.
get
He
in the Y'all gotta
anticipating
get in
sharing
the
this
room.
message, the goodness of what God is
Yes.
doing for him in
Yes.
his life and how he's able to help other people as
That's right.
he grows. He's able to share with them the things that he's been able to do and prosper with it. All right, guys. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do, I'm gonna do the real pleasantries of this show. We're gonna get started. I'm going to let you know what's going on. So here we go. All right, guys. So before we jump into it, I am Kiana F. Brown, your forgiveness expert. We have an amazing guest with us today. This is Mr. Arthur Brown. He is hailing in, you guys, from Raleigh, North Carolina. Last month, we had someone from further upstate. I believe she was in New Jersey. And then next month, we're going to take it all the way to the Virgin Islands. But today, we have Arthur Brown. He is doing some amazing things. Before he gets into it, I have just briefly something to share with you so that you can realize everything that you have to set aside because right now we're about to get into the real deal about what God has done for him in his life. This is the set aside prayer. This says, set aside prayer. God, please set aside everything that I think I know about myself, my brokenness, my spiritual path, and even you, Lord. I pray for an open mind and a new experience of myself, understanding my brokenness, my spiritual path, and especially you. So, as I shared that, there are some things that we're going to have to learn to be able to set aside so that we are not allowing the hindrance of our past to continue to be a hindrance in our today. And so, how this show goes, guys, we're going to talk about what life was like before forgiveness, what was life like during the process of forgiveness, and what is life like now. So, Arthur, go ahead and share with us and give us your testimony. What was life like before forgiveness?
Well, before forgiveness, I would say I didn't know who I was. I didn't know why I was here. That's the number one biggest thing in life. I did not know why I was here, why I was breathing, why I was living, why I was going to school, why I was in relationships, why I didn't have this, why I didn't have that. I think I just didn't have identity. That was the main thing. And so, me not having identity, just living through life, not knowing who my father is, and my mother raising only three kids with no blueprint, can't give them everything when I don't have everything. It's just that lifestyle of just kind of growing up. And I think me also not having a relationship with Christ also, that thing kind of was one thing that I was just kind of not sure. I was just like, well, if I'm going to live through this life that I'm growing through, I need to have a relationship. And I did not have one. So I was very reckless. And so with that being said, I was just like, as I started to grow and develop in my life, I just kind of realized I have to step back and build a relationship with God. But I had to wait for an encounter. Like it wasn't enough for mama's prayers, though I needed them, or grandma's prayers, or being raised around the church, or being in, around a Christ environment. But it just definitely took me an encounter.
Amen.
That
So, where did you not knowing yourself end you up at? Like when you were in a position and you didn't know exactly who you were. That's one of the things that I share about forgiveness and why we're in that position is because we don't know our identity. So, not knowing your identity, how and what are the things that you got yourself involved in?
Well, not knowing my identity, I was kind of a reckless person. Didn't like to be in relationships and be committed. Not celibate. sexing, doing my thing, running around, partying a lot, drugs, alcohol, the norm. But it was just like, it wasn't just the norm. It was just, I'm doing these things, I'm achieving, I'm in school, I'm in military uniforms, I'm living the life mom or dad wants, but I'm also doing what I want. But when you're just living a life trying to put on, okay, maybe I should go to school for a degree, or maybe I should get in a military uniform like mom and dad or uncle and auntie, or maybe I should build a business, or maybe I should, you start to label and attach what your identity on social media or the world per se. So I didn't have my own. That's why I was saying it's very hard when I was growing up, or just growing up in life, period, not knowing why in the world you're here, why you're breathing.
Yeah.
I have no identity. So that was one of those hard moments, just growing up, not knowing, man, where am I headed with all this? I got accolades, I got titles, but I don't feel no sense of purpose, no sense of fulfillment in any of this. So that's when I had to wake up with an actual encounter. I had to have a real encounter. I'm talking about beyond just school. I'm talking about beyond just a military uniform, beyond just living with mom and just having, working for yourself, having a good job or two, and then having yourself put together. I'm talking about when none of that is fulfilling, and you get into a point where you're depressed and you should be happy moving forward, but you're feeling like you deserve something more. And instead of waiting for it, you end up doing your own thing. And my own thing was money. Everybody's chasing money. Everybody going live, and who's listening to this live needs money, wants money. Their main thing they're working out right now with God is, how can I get to this money and figure it out? And instead of me just waiting, I end up stealing money. And that ended up catching God's attention. Well, it really caught my attention, but I thought I was just, being slick, providing. I'm young. I'm a young rich ruler. I remember my favorite saying back in the day was 21 with 20,000. I'll never forget it.
Wow.
It was my first little saying, but I just remember thinking that, dang, this the life. Who needs God? Who needs leadership? Who needs order and boundaries and structure? I just knew that this was it. And God had now obviously brought me into a situation where now I'm learning today, or teaching today, chasing your purpose and not chasing your money. But it's back then, before your forgiveness, like you said, before forgiveness, I was just chasing money, chasing money, chasing money. And that's so many of us today who aren't really chasing purpose. We're just chasing the next check, the next raise, the next dollar, the next. So that's pretty much where that encounter happens.
Now, I want to dive in just a little bit more into what you did, getting the money and actually being in prison, because you guys, that's something that caught my eye about you. And I was like, it's amazing for me to see just people who survive after that, because the statistic says that and I'll say we, because I've been there, that I think it's like 80, I think like 79% of us are not supposed to make it. It's like a small percentage of people that actually make it and do not return back. So what was the catalyst for you inside the cell and in there with the different people? I was sharing with someone the other day how they were talking about some different people and their lifestyles, and it just really touched me, because some of my closest people that I talked to in there were people who murdered their children, were people who were drug addicts, were people who did all types of things, who were running drug rings, or the wives that were mixed up. And so when you get in that space, we're all the same. We're all the same. What was that like for you? I mean, I'm only speaking from a woman's perspective.
Absolutely. I love it. I'm going to tell you how blessed God really has a hedge of protection. That thing where Satan says to God, God asks, well, you have a hedge over Job. You have that hedge of protection over him. I can't get to him, and I can't, because you have that thing over him. That was the greatest snitch, I think, in the Bible that anybody could hear, because we heard that the devil told God that you have hedge over his people. And I remember, man, let me tell you, I stole $14,424.69 as an embezzlement charge against me. And I'm talking about God really, I'm talking about when we were like, let's just break this into pieces. Before, the average person is just trying to get money. We're trying to get by. We're trying to provide. We're trying to get ahead. And we're trying to not do it like the next. So we're trying to just get ahead, or just trying to be like something we're not. And we don't have identity. I don't have a relationship with God. I don't even know who my father is. And my mother raised 3, and she had that hard love. I don't have many friends, and I'm trying to raise myself. So it's like when you found the prophet is your God almost. And even your job can be your God. Even your accolades or something
Yes.
you do. So I'm telling people, like, I was so lost in my, what should I do military? What should I do business? What should I do school? What should I do a degree? What should I do a job? I was so in my identity that by the time I realized that I come up with my own man-made idea, instead of following purpose, I'm following money. I started stealing, and not just stealing money as from my previous retail company. I mean, I mentioned it in my book that we can talk about later, but it's more so in depth of, I was just sitting at a retail company and I was just sitting there, and it was such a 2 months time spent. I stole about $14,000 just in a time spent just pocketing money and customers, and just checking out in cash and deleting orders on screens, and just and I thought I was being slick. I didn't know I was being watched. I didn't know they was investigating for 3 weeks. I didn't know I was being that slick. And so on the last day, I mean, I can tell you it's so perfect in my book called God versus Gun or something like that, on the chapter 3. But I would love to tell y'all just in a small, like a little recap. The day of it happening was the day I got called. And that was the day I realized I was marked and had identity. And it wasn't because I stole anything. It wasn't because I got caught for anything. It was because I heard that call. When he says, I'm going to come in a little still voice like this, but harden not your heart, because you know it's going to be in an encounter. He says, I'm a present help in trouble. Well, when you get in trouble, now you got God. It's not when you're shouting or in the church or when you got a blessing and he's present. And that's not him present. He's present when you are in trouble, heart beating, and they are sitting here in an interview room saying loss prevention is getting ready to talk with you for an interview. And you just go back there holly dolly with your, thinking you got it all together. Money's in the car, in your safe. You already know what you're putting away. You're getting ready to clock out and go home. And you had no earthly idea that 15 minutes headed to the back would change the rest of your absolute life. Now, that, I swear was called. I'd do it all over to get this call again from God if I could. If I could. I'm sitting here and I'm in a room talking to loss prevention for at least 20 minutes, goofing, and they going around doing their job, and they're so good at it. And after 20 minutes of talking with me, he understood everything that I've done, everything that why I'm doing what I do for a living, everything I was building. And by the time he opened up a stack of papers with my name on it and told me all that I was responsible for, I just sat in a sunken place. I don't know if y'all remember the movie Get Out, where she got the tea and he fell into that sunken place. Well, that's kind of where I felt when he was just talking with his words. And after they said what we said, and we got officers ready to walk you out right about now, and they set me up, all I could think about was, I put me here trying to reach money and a status. And now I'm about to be put lower. And so as you were talking about incarceration earlier, this was my first time ever. And this is how I know that God is really good, because I got charged with a felony for embezzlement. And I went down, and there was a 40-minute drive in the car. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, it's hard, sis. I'm sitting here thinking that these cameras on me. I'm the production guy, but these cameras are on me. I get to this place, I'm fingerprinting, and I'm taking off my clothes. And I've never been in a place like this, and I don't belong in a place like this. And neither does most of our black males that do make a dumb decision in a misdemeanor or something that they get caught with, or a felony charge. I just still don't agree with the system, and especially when you're black. So I'm sitting here and I'm trying to sit here and I'm watching things that I shouldn't see. A man banging his head against the cells and guards hitting folks. My man had blood all over his t-shirt, and they sat me 3 rows to my man. I'm sitting here getting my mug shot, and they telling me turn to the left, and they're telling me turn to the right. And I'm going through this whole process, and then I'm looking at God thinking, how in the world am I going to get out of this? And I'm sitting here 22 years old. I already told y'all I don't have a relationship with God. I had a relationship with religion, not relationship with God. So I never really had no one to really fall back on. Don't know my father, didn't have really many friends. I didn't really have much family that hadn't understood anything that I was going through. And at this point right here, I'm embarrassed because my mugshot is viral, and everyone in my city is sharing it viral on social media. Everywhere I go, I've seen it all over Twitter, all over social media, and I am looking like the laughing stock in my whole entire city. And the next day, I'm sitting here and I'm walking in to the courtrooms with God. And you guys, I'm sitting here. I've never, ever spoke once, and my book editor had to remind me this when we were editing the book. While I'm telling him this story back, he's saying, did you ever speak to any judge, any lawyers, any court appointed this? I absolutely did not. I was willing to go. I already knew what I had done was already going to have consequences. I just needed to know what I had to get ready to go through. And so as I'm sitting here in these courtrooms, I don't have mama, I don't have family. I'm just by myself sitting here 22 years old with my hands shaking and my knees shaking, and I'm by myself in a suit. I don't have a job. I don't have a dime. I don't own a business. I don't have contracts. I'm not a filmmaker. I don't know anything about no videos and promos and websites and any of this stuff that people see today. I'm just sitting here scared out my mind trying to figure out, Lord, what has I done? What have I gotten myself into? And if you are a God, please prove yourself to me. I remember saying, God, I need you to show yourself. No religion, no oil, no speaking in tongues, no music and running around. I need real relationship. And by the time I tell y'all, I got to this stance, I can only remember this one thing my man said to me. He said, thank you for dressing well. Thank you for coming out. I guess they gave me someone to just who was representing me. And all I remember was what they told me yesterday. You will be facing 39 months in prison for embezzlement for something that you've done. And I already knew this. And so as I'm getting ready to hear what the judge is getting ready to tell me and how long and where, by the grace of God, I'm telling you, by the grace of God, I felt it. My man, he says, we're going to go ahead and switch this up for him. And we're going to give him 2 years probation.
Jesus.
2 years probation.
Jesus.
He said 2 years. He said, now, if he slipped once, 1 month, one dirty sample, one drug this, meet him at the job, meet him at the school, meet him at his house. And I mean, every 30 days a knock. I still to this day get knocks at my door and rings at the doorbells, and I'm still flinching and nervous. They are on me like white on rice. One day you go away for 39 months in prison. That's 3 years. One slip. And I remember the grace of God coming over my man, because he said, we're going to take your felony down to a misdemeanor. Wow. You're going to take 14,000 I stole, and you're going to mark it like it was $5 misdemeanor, God? Wait on it. They said the 250 hours we were going to make you serve in community service, let's drop that down to 25 hours and just serve them somewhere close. Let me tell you, God wasn't even done. He said, so you won't see a daylight in prison for 39 months in prison. You're going to do 2 months, 2 years of probation. Or we're going to be white on rice on you. And he said, good luck with a job. He says, because no one's going to hire you with drug charges, embezzlement charges, now larceny now. No, you ain't going to get a job nowhere. And believe me, after I sat there listening to what they told me I had to go out there and do, all I remember was saying, I got this. And I know y'all watch me today and y'all see how hard I work today. And I know y'all see what I do today. But I kid you not, that I did not know what's in me. Wow. I didn't know what y'all see today. When I sat there, I said to God, I got this with you. And so after I left the stance and I'm sitting here, I realized God had really called me. And it wasn't even enough to be called. I was so grateful for the call. Grateful that he would sit there and select me. He wouldn't sit there and let me go through something that I was preparing in my mind mentally. They had told me what I had already told. They had already made up in their mind what they were going to do with me. But God had made up his mind what he was going to do. So my return to him is what I do today. Speak to people about their stories. Speak to them about chasing purpose, and maybe not a dime, maybe not stealing, maybe not getting up to that next. Maybe you might need to learn who you are. Maybe you might need to sit back and let God walk you through something where surely when you would sit there and you're scared and you're in a present help and trouble and you sitting there and don't know what to do. I mean, I tell y'all, and so we can walk through now with any more questions regarding, we can talk about where we were headed as far as building on the 2 years probation, where all that y'all see and I'm sitting on the day, sitting quiet. We can talk about not having a job the whole time. Chuck E. Cheese at Adventure Landing for $7.75 and $7.50 even told me, look, we're good. We won't even hire you. We see it. We won't want anybody with embezzlement. Who's going to hire you? Come on, son. Think about it. And even for chicken scratch money, no one's going to hire you to scrub toilets, to be a janitor. I was just begging for somebody to help me pay this court off, pay my rent off, help me find some food. I don't have a job, no insurance, no e-commerce, no nothing, no EBT. I know help. I didn't have it because I didn't have a job, no health, no anything. But I remember God telling me, you're going to build an agency from your broken, cracked iPhone 6 and that broken duct tape selfie stick that you have. And you're going to call yourself a filmmaker from an app using artificial intelligence, and the world will pay you and fund you. And if you're faithful and walking with me, I promise you, I will make this will be so unbelievable that when they see you come back from what you stole, what you fell in, they're going to say, how did you do it? And when you say my name, I promise they're going to believe. I promise you're going to win them souls. So that's where I'm at today.
Amen.
That's the call.
Amen. Amen. Wow. I mean, wow. That's all I can say is wow. I know from my experience, I guess my head might have been a little bit harder, and it's still a little hard. And
Mm-hmm.
he said, "Child, sit down for 4 years." But you know,
Absolutely.
it's
Yep.
it's it's
Yep.
amazing to see your resilience, how you
Mm-hmm.
come back, and
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing for the
Mm-hmm.
community, in the community, with the community, being the
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
I ran across your page because you were doing promo videos, guys. Shameless plug. I'm gonna put you out there. If
Come
you
on.
ever tune into Forgiveness Fridays, which you'll see tomorrow, there's a
That's
push
right.
out commercial that he did for me, which is simply amazing. And I believe that's when I really started to follow your story. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to pull something up really quickly so that they can see this.
Yeah.
This book is coming out soon. This is Chase Purpose, Not Profit:
Mm-hmm.
From Prison to Living Your Promise by
Yes.
author D. Brown. So let's get a little bit more into this book. I know that
Mm-hmm.
you've like given us an overall
Mm-hmm.
about the things that you've gone through, to
Yes.
get into the space. But what was it like actually writing, writing your feelings down,
Whew.
writing your emotions down, um,
Wow.
and being able to share this? Like you said, your face was plastered like pretty much all over the place in your community, and now you're sharing a tale all about that.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about some forgiveness in that,
Yes.
because I know when I started to write, there were a lot of things that I was like, "Ooh, I got to call this person. Ooh, I got to do this. I got to
Wow.
do this." So, what was that
Mama.
process like for you?
Wow. So, like, yes, you see, it's chase purpose, not profit. We're not talking about money no more. We're done with money. We're done with what gets you funded. We are going to simply chase nothing but your purpose, nothing but the thing that you would do for free. What is that thing that you do so well, that you're so gifted at, that folks have said, you so gifted and talented at this? What is that thing that if we asked you to do it, you do it for free? We're going to start focusing on that now, because those are the things that God sneaks in us. That's called our purpose. And I realize that's just gifts and talents. That's just things you just will willfully do, that you're just willfully good at, that folks will pay you maybe any type of number you come up with about your life. And I realized it says from prison to living your promise. And my editors came up with this idea. I said, okay, so the prison part, I said, that's going to be different because everybody's going to see my story. And I didn't even get to see a daylight in there, because unlike some other kids. And he said, well, that's true, but you also was in prison before you got to the prison from stealing money. You were in prison because you didn't know your father. You was in prison raised by your mother. You was in prison because of all the things of obviously raised up different and black in the community, and obviously how you had to raise all the things that I mentioned in my book. So just writing this book, it just talked about all the prison and things that I had to in my mind mentally let go and forgive. As you were mentioning earlier, I had to forgive. I mean, lots of things, just writing out this book, just talking about the story and layout, just giving out to them. I'm talking to the next person whose mom just called me like yesterday when she said my son just got in trouble, went to jail for stealing at the Carytown Mall. And, I just don't know what to do. You got any advice for a mother? And I'm telling people, this is why I wrote this book, because as soon as your child, whoever, I don't care if you were incarcerated or on probation, or if you're not, or you're on parole, you're now you're not even human now, no longer. And you need now a blueprint. And what I did with my life was write a blueprint in this book to tell everybody piece by piece, this is how you're going to have to move. This is how you're going to have to apply. This is how you're going to have to build. This is how you're going to have to seek income. This is how you're going to have to now have a new status of yourself, because you no longer can sit in these interviews and now no longer sit here as a convicted felon and then sit there and say, have you been convicted of a felon or missing on these applications, and sit there in front of the white man, no offense, and the white woman, no offense. Those are the people that fired me, even when I did even get the good jobs that I could scrape up and get, and I couldn't even last with them long because, well, even then I had to still get fired and had to land on my feet. And most people are in trouble and they don't know how to get back on their feet because what the world keeps pointing and reminding them of what they did and what they have already served, or what they've already. I did my 2 years of probation. I paid back my $3,200 in court fees. I paid back all of my little hours in community, this, that, and third. Now once that's signed and done, whoop-de-doo, that's a celebration for you. But good luck with the house. Good luck with trying to find this. Good luck with the, I'm talking about. So what I said, well, God, we're going to sit there and build something, and I will hire myself. And now, after I hire myself, I will build and fund myself so well that they would ask, man, it don't even make sense for me to even work a job. I'm literally, I can't even tell y'all. If we were talking numbers, I don't even want to tell y'all how well God has literally sustained us. I haven't clocked in since 2016. And I hugged my boss on my last day when she fired me because I was speaking about faith at an entrepreneur event, and I must have missed work. And apparently, the person that was supposed to cover me didn't show up, so they fired me, and I hugged her. That's that piece of God. That's that peace of
Wow.
God. It's that when they think, man, I got the peace of God because I'm giving and I'm nice and I'm this. No, it's when you could have lost your absolute mind. Do they understand that I have a criminal record? Do they understand that I can't have a job, or I don't, or this is like, if you lose a job, that everywhere else you gonna work, who gonna hire? They weren't running criminal records at this particular job I was at. So I got lucky. And when I got lucky and blessed, I realized getting fired, it fired me up so well that I said, God, this will be the last time I ever put this much power into anybody's hands. I want to build something. And so I wrote Just Purpose Not Profit as a blueprint to tell you what I did. But my God, the master classes are worth it way more better than the book, because I'm going to talk to y'all on a one-on-one level that says you're going to have to get to this and you're going to have to build it like this. And I'm ready. That's what I'm on now.
Amen. Amen. So one of the things that I wanted to hit on, because you were talking about, you know, you're not going to be able to get the house, you're not going to be able to get, you know, all of these different things. And so when I realized that environment is everything, when you're not able to get those things, that is what I've learned, that those people who have once been incarcerated and they have to continuously repeat those crimes, repeat the things that they were doing so that they could make money, so that they can just merely survive. It's because the world has put them back in that environment. That's right. That has made them go back there. So, and then not only that, do those things make you go back there, but sometimes the environment tries to pull you back. Right? They can see you getting ahead. They can see you excelling, becoming successful. Has that been any of your dilemma? Have people seen you, you know, reaching for the stars, actually grabbing them? I mean, swinging on them. And, you know, has that been a part of your story?
Yes. Like literally, I'm want to teach people how to get away from people. Like, what I'm like, if you're gonna get out of this, because what you did wasn't enough, who you killed, what drugs you sold, what happened in your life, what you stole, all that, who you robbed, that's gonna be on your record. That is what happened. If you did what you did, that is good. That's what that's fine. But what you got to realize is now you can't just sit there and wipe tables for 218. Yeah. You can't just sit there and settle for, okay, at least I got some change for the rest of your absolute life, and then settle for what because I did a mistake and I blame me for doing what I did and I can't accelerate and get higher. And we got to get past people. And I'm literally meaning like your family, like your friends, your closest friends that you grew up with, the people that are literally on you, that are watching you. Like, check your lives and literally see them out. Like, I get thousands of people on my lives in 24 hours before they delete. And I don't know half. And I noticed that when I do what I do for, you know, for God, I don't get that response, but they watch me. Just watch the amount of people. I'm trying to get family off of me. I don't mind. I love them to death, but they don't see when you're not who you were. I don't have to dumb me down after I came out of a call where God could have had me in prison for 3 years and I could have got out by 2018 and then just got, you know what I'm saying, instead of getting on probation in 2017, I could have been that mindset and back then, but I had to grow up. I had to put away childish things. I had to really boss up and build a business and learn how to fund myself, figure out how to get money, because I couldn't do applications and couldn't get myself. You out here with a clean record and can work anywhere and can do anything. That's great for you, but you don't have a charge. You don't have a lifestyle that I have to live, where I have to make up for myself. So I had to really tell family, like, if you don't understand this mindset of where I'm at and chasing this, and when I say chase purpose, they think being religious. That's not what I mean. People think, oh, because you used to cuss and sex whoever and slaying whatever. Now you out here preaching and this, that, and the third, and family look at you like, well, now who is he? Because we know him from back when. Well, that's right. But you also remember the encounter, and you haven't met the new me, and I still haven't heard a call, and I still haven't heard you bring up my new me, because you can only remember from back when. So they will tell you, well, you remember when we used to remember, and that's fine. We used to, when I remember that. But when I get back to where I'm going after we're done sobering up, after we're done chilling and hanging, I need you to understand that I'm called. I ain't called to hang with you. That ain't why God died on the cross, for us to get along. That's for anybody in my agency, partners, in contract. I don't mind. Look, I'm quick to let everybody know, look, this is where I am and this is what I do. Amen. You got to bounce. So yeah, I'm trying to teach people beyond just my leadership and books and classes and stuff. I'm trying to teach people, get away from people, build your own thing, and that's they gonna talk, and this is how you talk right back.
Amen. So, you know, as you was just going and you was moving, that just reminded me. So you're a rapper too. I've seen you on your videos. You doing your freestyle. You got something for us? You got
Man,
something?
look, I don't even have, and I wish I would, like, even my last interview, I was going to do a little sample, and I did, but this time I have an actual song I'm dropping this weekend that I'm going to allow y'all to know. So I'm glad you actually asked for it. It's called 2020. My boy DeMarcus, his mom approved the song, his nephews approved the song, and he actually approved the song. He's in prison still for the last 5 years he's been, and I've been writing him, and I've been rapping to, I make music now, and I want to talk to our boys in there, and I want to give them a sense of hope. I know you got him getting out. I'm not sure. I think he robbed someone back in the day with some guys, and I got charged for like whatever, and I know now he's serving his years, but I know he gets off in 2020, and I've been through a little something in between when he was in, so that's why I love that I can really connect. It doesn't matter if you've been in or if you're on probation or if you're going through, you are marked. Once they mark your background and your once they put you in the system, you're in. So I wanted to sing rap this song called 2020 to him, and it come out. It is gonna be awesome. I'm talking to him, I'm dressed up like him, and I'm talking to me in the green screen to me, and it's really cool. And I really wrote it, and I want to take my time, so I won't even give it like a sample of how I might go. I want to make sure y'all get ready for that. And this will probably be the first platform I announce it on, but it's a great thing because I love it. It's called 2020, and it's coming because he comes home, and I want to talk to him. And this is perfect because as soon as they're gonna remind him of what he robbed and who he stole from and what he was doing, and immediately I want to build his faith up and build his courage up. And I don't know if he's praying for you while you were in. I don't know if you have any friends that's going to get it, or family that's going to come lay hands and get it, or I don't know where you're staying or what you're doing or where you're going to work or what you're going to do. But I'm ready to build him up, and hopefully that this song was such an inspiration. His family loved it, and they approved it. I was a little nervous because I don't like putting people's mugshots and their stuff out there because they got to get a job later when they get out. But they think that. But then you really going to become everything like a king that God is going to call you, and your story's going to be your platform, and it's just going to be like, oh, so awesome. So I'm super excited for that.
I'm excited too. You know, like the Bible tells us that we're supposed to live by our testimonies. Like your testimony is what you're supposed to share for the kingdom, so that other people who may be stuck, who may be dealing with issues and challenges, can move on. And so that's the bigger reason that we do Forgiveness Across the Nation, Forgiveness Fridays. The bigger reason why I, get on platforms and talk and speak, because there are so many people that God allows us to connect to, that they just need to hear our voice. I was sharing in Bible study the other day that when we're walking around, as we're walking and we're talking to people and communing with them, some of those people may never pick up a Bible. We're going to be the closest to the scripture that they see. And if we're not implementing that in our lives, if we're not walking out in purpose, then, we're not doing the kingdom purpose at all.
That's right. That's right. I tell people that's why everything I do has got, guys. I said, God, from this moment on, I'm going to serve you. I'm not going to get a job. I'm going to let you, your name stands for Jehovah Jireh, so I'm going to let you prove that. That says you're my provider. He has not let me clock in since 2016. It's going on 2020. He's proven that. I literally let God just be God while I just be faithful. He said, come and I will make you fishers of men, Peter. So when he came from your boat, come and follow me. The coming part is your job. The making you is his job. So he's going to make you into a CEO, make you into a better father, a mother, a son, a boss, or this or that. He's going to do it. But the coming to me part, it's because you out there right now on your ship that you own with your business, doing you, toiling and catching fish and catching money and doing you. But when I call you, I'm going to call you from it. Watch this. But I'm just going to jump on it and preach on it and use it as a platform, my story, the platform, and preaching with the book and how you're telling it. It's just going to be something I'm going to trick you in. But get out of that stealing profit, and I'm going to show you how to steal fish or catch humans and talk to their minds instead of all that craziness. Like, he is so slick and he's so good. And you're going to know when you're in the will of it. You're going to know the stuff is going to come effortlessly, easy, and it's going to come by faith that you would have done. And you're going to know it because God has already lived in your tomorrow. So that's why I'm like, we're shocked at what I did. But God is like, I already knew this is how I was going to call you. And I'm so glad that you got the call. You understood that it was me who did this, who set this whole life up for you. And if everybody would understand that their job is not your God, your boss is not your God, your money's not your God, all you got to do is sit down and hear God call you, and then you are literally in. You're literally in. He can feel, you can feel that you're his as you're moving and as you're working. And so that's all I teach today, is really wanting people to have that sense of God's got this. You don't have to do this. You don't have to hold all this over your head like it's you that got to do it. No, that wasn't how he created you. He's already died, and the veil was ripped from the top to bottom to prove no man could get this high. And Jesus said it's done. So when he said that, that is a wrap for you. You now have access to him. And so now people got to understand, live. I come to you have life. Go ahead. well, I don't know if I leave the job and then go build this. What if it don't sustain me and this? That's what I said with the broke cracked iPhone and a little this. I said, God, you want me to charge $1,500 to go to a wedding with an iPhone and a cracked phone? He said, yeah, they're gonna pay it. I said, God, who knows how to edit? Who knows how to film? They can look at me and laugh, and they did. But when I was done, they cried.
Wow.
Don't play with God. I didn't know it. He gonna push you into something that you're gonna question. Literally, oh God, and if that's you, go ahead. That's you.
Boy, you are preaching to me right now. He done placed me in some environments, some areas, and I'm like, how did I get from here? Because I did this. I just listened to the voice and the will of God, and He's taken me surpast anything that I could ever think or imagine. I am just, super glad and thrilled to have you here. I love your energy. There's something else that I wanted to pull up on the screen. If you could, I want you to talk about this a little bit, because you're not just sharing your voice, but this is something that you do, and you help small business owners, speakers, and things like that. You help them share their voice. As you were sharing that, you literally started with not knowing how to do any of this. So what made you decide to want to help the business owner or the speaker, the person who needs to share what it is that they're doing, not just the pictures or not just videos of the wedding, but what was the catalyst to say, not just about me, but lifting up and help building the kingdom? Because I will tell you this honestly, there are some people out here throwing out some prices, Arthur, and I'm just looking at you like, what? And then to get your work, and it's like amazing. How do you make all of that work?
Man, I just love to help people. That's all I want to do. It's you need a voice. No one can hear you. Everybody sees all this book you printed. Everybody sees the website and domain and accolades and titles and everything that you achieve. They look at you like you're Wonder Woman, but they didn't see the domestic violence or the abuse or the torture or the hurt and the things behind writing it. And now I got award winners because I didn't know, but all these things I produced out of me were all pain. And folks walk right past the pain, see the accolades and titles, and now she's uppity. Now she's such a much. Never mind all the twirl she meant. Never mind the rape that happened young. Never mind the things that happened young. They only see the end of your story. They don't see the beginning of your movie. They walking in at the end and they're thinking, wow, this must have been nice. And they missed all of it. So I'm like, Lord, let me get your accolades. Let me get your logo. Let me get your videos. Let me get your pictures. Let me get your stuff. Let me put it all together. Let me let the world hear you so that they can continue to know what you're doing. And if you can continue to drop more and more and more and let them and just build it up so much where you got so much content and so much things speaking from so many things that you do online that you're like, wow. I mean, literally, you should be getting blown up from all areas because all they see is what you're doing. So that's what I had a passion for. I knew it worked for me. I knew that God had nearly funded almost $100,000 in my business in 2.5 years from just that iPhone and the app, literally without having to know half of these clients or get on the phone or any of that. I don't have no experience, and God funded me. And then God turned around and told me that literally, if you would teach this to people, I would fund them as well. If they would trust your system, trust your process, trust your master classes, or trust the things you're doing, I got you. And that's what I'm kind of focusing on right now, just building up, beyond just getting you out there online in the air. I want to make sure you build your stories heard and people understand who you are beyond just your professionalism.
So I think this is this talking about your classes. I see this is your information.
Yeah, that's my gift. And then there's another one I think for $597 that talks about the 7 classes or something like that. Or I gave some steps that we have. Monetize your gift is definitely something we use for just building up people. We teach it, and that is something we talk about. It's 7 steps to my classes. It's just something where people log in and they will sit like how we're doing, and it's literally 38 minutes that we've been speaking, but most of my classes are like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, some of them, but one of them, the last one is 20 minutes, which is heaven on earth. And I really want to talk. That's how we're supposed to be living, where we get what we want, pay what we want, go where we want, do what we want. We hardly tell the kids no, family no, our demeans, because God has got us so high up. We're giving. We're in need. If anybody needs help, we're receivers now. This is where we're supposed to be headed. And this is how we're supposed to live that abundant life. I come to live life more abundant thing. That's what we're talking about. And so what I'm talking about in these master classes, we're just simple things. First class is mindset versus you. No, it's job versus you, actually. Okay. I want to talk about your job. I just want to know how much you make a month. Do you like it? Is it fulfilling? Can you see yourself doing it for 20 years? And if you tell me absolutely no, I'm just doing this because I have to, that class is going to be great for you. Next one, mindset versus you. Some of y'all are ready. Some of y'all can feel it. Some of y'all know it on the job while you're sitting there, but you're grateful because I prayed for this, but now I'm elevating and I'm sitting here and I need the right mindset on why or how I'm going to do this. And that's going to be, we just talking. And then we got number 3, action versus scared mode. Boy, I'm ready. I got the domain. I got the logo. I'm showing my girl at the job and I'm showing my homeboy at the place. I'm like, yo, and I'm telling everybody that's how I was. I told my boss. He told me my book cover, Chase Purpose Not Profit, is a scam. He said, I don't think it'll sell. He said, it don't even sound real. I said, why do you think that? He said, because don't you need money to fund your purpose? Foolish him. He got to understand that if you walk with God, you don't need money to fund your purpose. But I proved him wrong when they fired me, and now I'm doing what I do. He don't want to see me come back to the job. But I remember that's where you're at right now. That's where most of y'all at, where we just telling everybody. And some folks are trying to shut you down with that, whatever, but bounce back. Some folks are going to like it, not like, or comment, whatever. Bounce back. Even if you like my stuff, I love you. That's an opinion. Thank you. I hate you. That's an opinion. Thank you. You got to have a bounce back. You can love me or hate me. It don't matter. I'm going for it. Then you got the next one, invoice versus paycheck. I was telling them about so that's a really good class that most people I'm gonna meet half entrepreneurs and business owners right there before they even get to heaven on earth. But then I want to talk about the money. Let me talk to you about invoice versus paycheck. Let me show you the difference. Instead of waiting every 2 weeks, let's start sending these numbers. I don't know what the total bills you got all month, but we're gonna start sending invoices that cost that one total. That one invoice gonna be everything that's what your bill is. I don't know how I can do that in your life or how we can twist it and flip it, but we can. And then we're going to talk about routine versus recycling. Just, having your business, I can do so much more entrepreneur and freedom versus recycling, going 8 hours, then 8 hours on them. But I don't spend 8 hours on my business. I'm wrong for that because I don't even like them. I'm just doing it because I got to. I don't even spend time on one thing God gave me. So we're going to talk about that. And then lastly, heaven on earth. That right there. Once you get to that class, you so filled with what I told you. You so fired up and ready to go. But then by the time we got there, you was like, look. And I can't help you because I don't know how fast. I told you 2 years and a half. Over $100,000 he done in my agency. I didn't even know. I said, God, we're using an app and a phone. Folks are going to think I'm stealing money again. He said, I know. Folks don't think I'm crazy again. Folks don't think I'm robbing again. He said, you just the thief on the cross that I decided to say, when you said, remember me on my way up, I just said, I'm going to take you with me. So all I'm doing is doing what everybody's favorite, building their website, building their promos, building their music song. Here you go for your kids to listen to me. Here you go for your readers to read me. Here you go for your preachers to listen to me. Here you go for your entrepreneurs to let me build. But if you take me tomorrow, you got enough. If you take me next year, you got enough. I'm trying to build until he goes, y'all. This is all I do. It's all I know. So,
you are truly, truly an inspiration. And I feel your passion. I feel your spirit. And some people, I know I get excited sometimes, and some people don't know how to take me, but it's just the fire that you have of Christ in your belly, in your bones.
Love him.
That is just simply amazing. So before we're going to head out in just a little bit, but before we go, I want you to share a message of forgiveness to that person that might be interested in your programs. You are that person that's clocking in. You are that person that is chasing the money. You are that person that is afraid to go out there into that next space. What is the word of forgiveness for them, for themselves, for their mindset, their lack of thinking, or their lack of capability to actually take that step to move?
Why are you here? You are a winner. You are enough. That's all I want to tell you. You are enough. You didn't think you were enough because you thought what you did and what you had done was the problem. You thought that was the ultimate answer. And I want to say you are enough. You can't sit back and just settle for, okay, maybe this is what God wants for me. If you thought out of 3 million options when your mother and father were conceiving you, and you swam out all 3 million and made it here now in flesh, you think that that you're number one. And God died on the cross for you to sit here for 40 hours for here and work 40 years here. You got so much power in you. You don't understand what's in you. There's so much gifts and talents that I just want to watch this from a phone, maybe in an app he might can show you. There's something you do literally now that if he told you to do it, you would deny him. Because you think, well, God, you don't, and then you want all the answers like you had the job and when you went to school and when you did all that. When you follow faith, it says walk by faith and not by sight, meaning sight it's blind. You can't look at it. You can't see it. You got to walk blind and you can't really know all details and you can't really know how much and where and when and how many years and what should I do next and all these questions. Just you got to go blind. So your problem is you're scared to go blind. That's why I said chase purpose, not profit. Because if you go blind, you won't worry about my job and where I'm going and what degrees and accolades and what's next. If I go blind, I'm gonna let God do it. And when he does it, it's gonna work so well because you're gonna know like you know it was him. I know this was him. I know. That's why you see the passion for him, because he knows that he did this for me. He knows that I sat there on that stand, it was shaking, and it was like at Arthur Brown, and I came through the scan. I'm sitting here. He remembers me being a little boy, and then all of a sudden after building me up and showing me that though you don't know your father, and though you didn't have much growing up by your family, and though you haven't had much in that, I'm going to do this for you. And when I do this for you as your father and you're my son, you're going to go tell all the world, and you're going to make me feel like a spoiled daddy did something for a son. And that's what I'm doing for his daughters and his mothers and his sons and his daughters. I'm like, yo, God, I got this. I got this. You did this for me. You saved me. You helped me. You got me up. So this is the least I can do is build all this for them. And even this ain't enough. I want to talk to them so personally beyond just a virtual thing. I want conferences and getting back on flyers again. But I know when we print that book after 3 years of writing it, 50,000 words we spoke into that iPhone. I don't want to get a computer. I don't want to do anything. I want to keep the iPhone on everything, because that person watching me thinks they need money. They think they need a website. They think they need cameras and productions and computer systems and software systems. And I'm sorry. You're going to print the book from the iPhone and speak your words if you ain't got a computer. You're going to edit everything from an app if you ain't got an app. You're going to film from your phone and take your pictures from the phone if you ain't got money. You're going to do this thing, and you're going to be faithful to God and watch the return. And you're going to be like, God, if it had not been. And so all the people are going to know that they know that it's really real. You really do walk with God. You really build this God. Oh, and you know they're going to know because we can tell your story. You shouldn't be up here this high and this long, short time span. You feel me? Like you just got off of probation 2017 and now you're a bestseller by 2019, 2020. This is great. So I get what God, he told the story so quick. And that's what your blueprint is, your story. So for all those out here watching, your story, the thing you hide, the thing you cover, the thing you don't want to tell folks that happened to you, the thing you really don't, you shy away from, that's the thing he wants you to build. Bring out into a book, bring out into your story, bring out on stage, bring out with a mic so that others that are going through it now can really get delivered because of what you made it through, instead of hiding the embarrassment of what daddy did or somebody did or who touched you or what happened. And then you're going to realize, wow, my story is my blueprint. It was the layout. It was the thing that God already designed. So that's what I'm going to tell that person. You was not called to sit here and Walmart, Sears, and JC's Penney's. How may I help you? No, absolutely not. You got
yes.
money, baby. I love you.
Yes.
It's for you, Mona. I got
it. Thank you so much. So I'm going to read this again for those who may have tuned in now, just so that the stuff that you heard, you can realize what you're supposed to do with it and where you're supposed to go. This is a set aside prayer. God, please set aside everything that I think I know about myself, my brokenness, my spiritual path, and even you, Lord. I pray for an open mind and a new experience of myself, understanding my brokenness, my spiritual path, and especially you, changing from everything that you thought you knew about yourself, that you thought you knew about your spiritual path, and that you thought you knew about God. Once you get to know him truly for yourself and step into your identity that he has created you to be, then you will be able to be in a position of forgiveness, releasing everything. And as we've been sharing today, sharing your testimony, as that will be your blueprint to your greatest destiny and your purpose in life. I want to thank Arthur Brown for taking the time to share with us today so passionately, so filled with fire for Christ, as he is doing these things, not just for himself, but tapping back into us, tapping back into you, tapping back into the environment so that he can help others grow the way that God has planted a seed in him, so that he is now growing and he is bearing fruit from the tree that God has allowed for him to produce from. So guys, this has been Forgiveness Across the Nation. I am Kiana F. Brown, your forgiveness expert. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow to Forgiveness Fridays at 6 p.m. on your way home. Catch the replay, whatever it is that you got to do. We'll be talking about relationship goals. Now, with relationship goals, you think I'm talking about with somebody else. No, I'm talking about the self relationship. So many of us are so busy and consumed with everything else, we don't even have that personal relationship with ourselves. It's time to forgive yourself, to get into that space of doing that. Now, before we go, Author, is there any last parting words that you would like to share? How people can stay connected to you if they're interested in your classes, whatever. Here's the time now. Go ahead and
Absolutely.
share that with the nation.
Absolutely. All I have is a simple request. If you want to learn more about me, you can visit impact, the number 2, in the word success.org. That's my website. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me at Instagram, like impact, the number 2, in the word success. And that's as well for all my platforms. So you guys, my name is Arthur Brown. I had such a pleasure. I'd love to connect with you, learn about your business, and learn about what you got going on, where you're headed, because you are something that God is going to use that's going to be a mighty weapon, and you are so worth it and so enough. And I cannot wait to connect with you guys more. And thank you so very much for having me release so much on this amazing platform you have for all the people. And I thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. All right, guys. So we are headed out for now, but we will see you next month. Remember, we have a guest coming all the way from the Virgin Islands, our virtual live forgiveness across the nation. If you're interested in becoming a part of Forgiveness Nation, you can go to the closed Facebook group right here on Facebook and join us, where we share and I go in and do Bible studies and things of that nature to encourage the power of forgiveness in our lives. As well as you can go visit me on the internet at www.kianafbrown.com. If you have an interest of being on the show, you have a topic of forgiveness that you would like to share about, or if you want to be on Forgiveness Fridays, or you just want to check out some more of what's going on with Forgiveness Nation and the new business launching 2020, Uplift Women's Alliance LLC. You can visit me there, and I'll be grateful that you leave a message and sign up for the mailing list so that you can stay tuned and abreast to everything all forgiveness. All right, guys, we'll check you soon.
I feel so happy. I feel so happy. I feel so good today.